Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lady Mercury's Oddball Oddities. I don't know. It's just Lady Mercury's channel, just trying to throw things out there. Again, I am sipping on some tea tonight. I just warmed the water up. So, my water is warm. I'm about to put some more of that cherry blossom tea from Hardy and Sons Fine Teas. There we go. Again, that tetrahedron shaped tea bag. I don't talk like a normal human because, again, I don't like the word human. Human's an ugly word. It's not meant for everybody. And by that, I mean it's only meant for 1% of the population. Now you know. So, anyways, I'm here to finish off that dream diary. This is part 2 of the first dream diary video I made. As you know, I did have to cut that one short because I was having some activity going on in my room, in my house, in my apartment, in my living space, in which y'all will either figure out later or I'll just go out and tell you later on in my video. My hat itches. So I am wearing my third eye captain's hat and I'm wearing that lovely checkerboard apparel with my space overalls because it's about to get spacey up in here. I don't know why I keep doing the finger bangs, but whatever. Anyways, so as I said before, this is just a dream diary. Might have been a spiritual experience, but it's labeled as a dream diary because this one was a dream. Anyways, so on the spaceship that I was on in the last video, we're talking about I was on the spaceship in the dream. So on the spaceship that I was on, it was very magical. It went from being kind of like the entrance of a spaceship, like cliche entrance of a spaceship where there's like that narrow, weird metal corridor, except it was like very light. So like there was light everywhere. The walls illuminated light. It was like being in a white hallway with like pearly, translucent, metallic looking walls. Anyways, so I was in that hallway and then I walked in, picked out my wardrobe, the silver bodysuit type piece. Again, I'm wearing my space pants because representing that spiritual vibe. Anyways, back on subject, which this was. So I was in the spaceship, went through the wardrobe, picked out my platinum colored RFID protective, 5G protective clothing. And so the man that I asked if I could board the ship asked me if I wanted to proceed. And I said, oh, absolutely. Well, that's not what I said, but I said, yes, please. I would love to proceed. And we walked in through these doors. So these doors opened up, and it was like a forest in the epicenter of the ship. So there was a forest on the inside of this totally technologically advanced ship. And the trees in this ship were powering the ship itself. The ship was running off the vibrations of the plant life, which blew my mind. They were running off the vibrations of the plant life, and there were people meditating in the center of this like almost a park-like thing. So like there was trees, there was bushes, there was flowers and plants, and there was even like little glow bugs, little bugs that would glow and they'd blink just like the lightning bugs that we have in the state that I live in Minnesota. Except they glowed like blue and white and like all the colors. There was like one of every color, I swear. just kind of glowing and blinking and doing their little lightning bug thing. It was pretty magical. And then there was people meditating around this pool in the center. And the center was actually like a pool of water. Might have been another fluid, but it was water-like at the very least. And it was pretty fantastic because like they were just meditating there using this throat chanting type of technique, kind of close to like Tibetan monk chanting, but closer to the Mongolian throat singing, which I'll get into that another time because that's a completely different subject on a completely different spiritual level. So they were throat singing and meditating on the vibrations that they were making with their throat. And then when we got in there, the man who escorted me in was very cordial, I want to say. I don't know if that's the right word. I mean, it was like he was escorting me in as royalty, but it seemed like everybody treated each other like royalty in a sense. And he brought me to this one guy. There's one guy on this one ship in the middle of space. Sorry. He brought me to this one guy. And so we're just not gonna give him a name. But everybody on the ship was about 8 to 10 feet tall, approximately. I was kind of a midget. But then the guy put his hand on my shoulder and I grew in height. I grew in height when this man put his hand on my shoulder, and my skin actually changed colors. So my skin went from being like it is now to me being maybe about... Excuse me, little furball. Y'all see this guy? Digging his claws into my back? Dude, what the heck? His name is Dude. I love this little furball, but he is always getting into trouble with me. Go. Cats. He's shedding. So he put his hand on my shoulder, and my skin went from this normal color that it always is to being similar, but it was more like a bluish amethyst color. And instead of my hair being the way it is now, it was silver, but then had like silver feathers as well in my hair, like actual like bird like a peacock's feathers, almost like white peacock feathers for hair, which I thought was really interesting. Later on, when I discovered some things that people have been saying about like other alien species, I had known nothing about this up until I did some research a couple years later. So it's kind of like, it's not even the right color, but like this was similar to what my skin tone looked like. Similar, but not the same. I wasn't able to see what my eyes looked like or anything like that because I was looking out them. I was not drifting outside of my body in this dream. Oh, it scared me. My cat started eating, and I thought the door was about to open. Ah, scaredy cats. Anyways, so like my hair was white. It had like peacock feathers coming out of it, like white peacock feathers, so albino-ish. And then I had that bluish tint to my skin. It was a weird experience. And then he told me my name. This is a name that I had heard in books. A name that I've read about in books. This is a name that goes back very far. So far back that, I mean, I'm not allowed to tell you what my name is. You have to figure me out. And you'll probably get subtle hints through my dream diaries that I drop. But it's just really hard for me to go through and tell you everything without me being a target, because they're going to try to silence me. I'm not trying to be like a conspiracy theorist. I'm not trying to be paranoid or anything, but they will try to silence me if I tell you everything all at once, which is why I'm doing things part 1, part 2, maybe even a part 3, and taking my videos down, a couple weeks at a time, or a week at a time, or a couple days at a time. Anyways, so he put his hand on my shoulder, I grew, yada yada, became my true self in that state. And then he told me, welcome to the 11th. And what I heard was, welcome to the 11th density. And it kind of, it didn't faze me at the moment, because I didn't know anything about that at the time. But inside, I knew what that meant. I just didn't know how to process it at the time. And then he told me, you need to find the Father. He did not say the Holy Father. He did not say that you need to find your Father. He did not say anything other than, you need to find the Father. And then he touched my belly, and I was pregnant in the dream, just like I was in the real, like in the physical world. I don't want to say the real world, because this isn't the real world that we live in. The real world is when you finally become aware of who you really are and what you really are. So he touched my belly where I was pregnant, and mind you, I was about 7 or 8 months pregnant. So I had a sizable bump. But I saw what my daughter was going to look like when he did that. And Athena, I love you and I miss you, and I can't wait to meet you again. It's going to be exciting for me and you once you realize who I am. He said, you need to find the Father. Well, then there was a bright light when he touched my third eye after that. He touched right here after that, and I was shot back into my awake state, but I was in like a partial sleep paralysis almost, where I was awake, but I wasn't awake. So my door was open. And I saw something that wasn't physically there. And it was physically there, but not in a vibration where most could register it. It looked like a spider hanging from my ceiling. A large, about the size of 2 people, hanging from the ceiling of my doorway, staring at me with green eyes. Bright, glowing green eyes. And this, I've been seeing this same shadow form following me everywhere. And it seems angry. But every time I try to talk to it, every time I confront it, all it does is stare at me. It doesn't do anything other than that. It just stares at me. I don't know why. I've tried love. I've tried opening up to it. And a couple of times it has given me a threatening vibe or a threatening energy where I've had to tell it, you need to leave. You can't be in my home right now. I have 2 children. I can't allow this energy around my 2 children. They are too young to understand this. And then, of course, my kids will wake up. because it's messing with them too, which is how I know it is real. Because one will wake up and then I'll go to console them. I'll feel that energy in there and I will tell it to leave. And then the other one will wake up. So it's weird how this is working right now. But it's been kind of following me from there ever since. Later, I found out that the room that I was staying in the place that I had that encounter and that dream, a lady killed herself. She actually killed herself in that room, which could have created a negative energy thought form that then attached itself to me because I was emotionally vulnerable. These things do happen, and they follow you until you can dismiss them and tell them to leave. But then unfortunately, they will attach themselves to the next vulnerable being. And at this point, it's my children. So I have to keep telling it to leave. And I'm teaching my daughter, she's 3, I've taught my daughter to tell it to go away. I'm like, if you see any dark things, if you see any monsters, you tell them to go away and they will leave you. But you need to tell them to go away through your heart. She doesn't quite understand it yet, but I feel like she's getting there. I'm gonna have to teach my son the same lesson when he's old enough. But when you see these shadow beings, or if you feel their presence, you tell them, I love you, and I understand that you are hurt. I understand that you want to show yourself to me, but it is time for you to leave. I cannot help you. You need to help yourself. I love you and I forgive you. Please leave. Those are things that they just need to hear. It might not help them, it might not give them what they need, but they do need to hear these things. Oh, would you look at that? My phone battery went from 80% to 15%. So I guess that concludes my video. Well, again, I'm Lady Mercury, and thank you so much for watching my video. I didn't even get a chance to sip my tea, but I will after I charge my phone up a bit and start my next vlog, which I'll be wearing this outfit again because I have to catch up on my video making. Let's move this aside for a minute. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay positive. I love you. See you later.